It's Monday, and on Mondays we do tier list. Jokes aside, I haven't done an item tier list in quite a while, so I thought it would be a good idea to maybe go over some hate and battle items again, now that we also have a lot of new additions, that came out in Unite. So we have game-defining items, good items, average items, situational ones that will probably be better once draft comes out as well, which will be in 1 month when we're gonna get draft, so you can kind of adjust to your opponents a bit better. And then we have the, bad items that are kind of meh. And then we have also trash items that you should never be playing. These items can still maybe see some use, but they're still just underperforming in a lot of scenarios. I'm just going to start with the game-defining items. Let's just start with the best of the best. Let's just start with the best item in the entire game, which is XP share. Yeah, XP share is just really the best item. In tournaments, you have to run 2 of these in every single team, or you're going to notice it a lot. 1 on top path, 1 on bot path. So what XP share does is, if you get a last hit and one of your allies is close to you, the ally gets 100% of the entire white Pokemon as experience, while the XP shareholder still gets 30%. So in general, it's just 30% more experience for every single last hit. Which over the course of the game, of course, adds a lot, and especially early game, it allows your carry to get to level 5, level 7, and level 9 much faster, which is why XP share is so strong. Also, the XP shareholder still gets a good amount of experience passively as well, through the passive of the item. So yeah, just you can't play tournaments without this item, and even in solo queue it probably should be like 2 XP share, at least 1 XP share on each team, which it's really not, but yeah, it should honestly be the case. Next up, we have Spoon. Spoon is literally the meta item on every single special attack based Pokemon. All special attacker play it, and then also even special attack defender play it, like Blastoise, Lapras, Gudra, right? Just really showcases how good the item is, even after the nerfs. Next up, we have Attack Rate. Attack Rate is a game-defining item, because certain Pokemon need to play this, and in general, almost every single Speedster or Rounder that's attack-based is going to play this item, and it makes a huge difference, and Attack Rate has been a meta-stable item for so long now, and will probably be still, unless there's really something else that's going to replace this. Weakness policy didn't quite replace it, as it has a bit less attack damage and also a bit of different activation. But yeah, if you play Serena without Attack Rate, you really notice it, and the Pokemon becomes so much worse. And for the last game-defining item, we have the new item, Resonant Guard. It's already top tier, kind of replaced Bloody Barrier and Focus Band as the main defensive item, and it's very, very powerful. It allows you to just absorb much more damage, and if you run multiple of those, you really notice it a lot in team fights at the same time. So yeah, very, very strong item. Now let's head towards the good items, ones that are always decent and also, make your Pokemon stronger. Let's just start with, what do we start here? Muscle Band, of course. Muscle Band is a great item. It's no longer, I feel like, game-defining, even though I still played in a lot of Pokemon as well. Maybe actually it is still game-defining. Honestly, yeah, honestly, never mind. It's still game-defining of an item as well. Like, you run it on pretty much every single physical attacker that, has range. You even run it on certain special attack Pokemon as well, just because it has a lot. All-rounders, some play it, and even some defender play it. It's still a game-defining item, also just because it just allows you to do Regis and Rayquazas also even faster. So let's still put it in the game-defining category. So for good items, let's just start with Razor Claw. Very stable meta item on Speedsters, on All-Rounders. It's just good damage. It gives you a slow as well on top of it. So just a very, very solid item. Focus Band, drop from game-defining to here, I would feel like. It got nerfed. We also have the Curse item. So less healing from Focus Band in team fights, so I feel like, and Resonant Guard did kind of replace it at the same time. You can still play it, again, good, it's just very good items you can play on most Pokemon. Up next, what do we go for? I think Charging Charm, I will add it up here. It could be an average too, but I feel like a lot of Speedsters have become very strong with this item, especially like Leafeon or something, and it just adds a lot of extra burst to your combo. It's just a good item. It's pretty much, let's put Choice Specs also up here. It's just the physical attack version of Choice Specs. Just a bit more burst, and some Pokemon need this extra burst to just be able to get that one-shot in. Someone like Zoroark, Leafeon, Pursuit Absol as well, like it's very good on. There's a lot of Pokemon where Charging Charm feels very good on, Brave Bird, Talonflame, and so on and so on. There, I think it's a very, very solid item now, and something you should definitely be playing. Next up, we have Energy Amplifier, still also a very strong item for certain Pokemon. That is, has also been a meta for quite a while. The Cure Reduction is also a nice extra feature of this item, and definitely is still very strong. Curse, Incense as well. is a very strong item. This will be even better when draft comes out. So maybe when draft comes out, it will go up here. For now, it's still good. We will see, but it might still be a good item, doesn't matter what, even when draft comes out. Right now, you just don't know who you play against, so it's difficult to really, choose or, to play it, because you never know what's on the enemy side. And then weakness policy, I feel like it's somewhere between good and average, but it's for sure a solid item that we see, played on a lot of Pokemon. So sometimes replaces attack weight. It's just a bit of a weaker version of attack weight in total, but it has a bit of an easier requirement. So you just have to get hit to do more damage. And we see it, being played on a ton of Pokemon. Then we head to the average items. I think next. I think these are all the items I want to put up here. Gonna start with Rapid Fire Scarf. It is a good item, but really, a lot of times it just gives too much attack speed to the point where the item actually becomes kinda useless and doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. But it's still a good item. You can play, on a lot of Pokemon that are based on auto attacks and, do a lot with it. Scope Lens. I feel like Scope Lens is no longer really a good item, but it's still quite alright as well. Maybe not average. Let's just call this alright, maybe. Maybe that makes it a bit fair. These are just alright items that you can play. Scope Lens is still very good, of course, on stuff like Greninja, Cinderace, Duraludon, Crit Machamp, any crit build really that wants to go for crits. Is that very powerful? I mean, it's still quite decent. It's still one of the best level 30 items as well. If you play crit, Pokemon, or, you like physical Tekka, then Scope Lens should be your first level 30 item, as it gives the highest value out of level 30. And then Vice Glass is also just alright. You kind of just play Vice Glasses for Special Attacker, because there's nothing better, but Curse Instance kind of is going to replace this at some point. So Curse Instance, right, is an item that does replace it on most Pokemon. So Vice Glasses is kind of alright. Nothing really, special, but also nothing all too bad. Then Body Barrier as well for me dropped to alright now. There's only a few Pokemon who are left playing it as Resonant Guard, kind of replaced it as an item. And yeah, I mean, it's still alright. You can still play it on like Wigglytuff, or you might be sometimes, like Tank Blastoise or something. But it has lost a lot of value. And out of top of my head, I don't even know a lot of Pokemon who still play it, honestly. But still quite an alright item that you can definitely play. And is there anything else that's quite alright? No, I think that's it for the alright category. Next up, we have some situation items that are also maybe just, average as well. So maybe these items are more average. We have the Cursed Bangle, which is just a worse version, I feel like, of this one, because it's much harder to like proc as well for attacker Pokemon. It's still quite okay, and if, draft comes out, I think in draft it will for sure be having its place. Sometimes you're like, oh, the enemies have Clefable, we have no one in my team that has a anti-healing item. I'm just going to run this on Aegislash or something, right? On Metagross or something, and it's still going to get a good amount of value. Shellbell, also very situational. You pretty much only play it if you have like some cooldown reduction build. For example, it's needed an Icy Wind, Glaceon plays it, and Mystical Fire, Flame Charge, Delphox plays it. Those are the two Pokemon that kind of play Shellbell, where it's actually very good for the build. Besides that, there's not a lot of Pokemon left who play it. As when Spoon came out, it saw more play. Back when emblems were a bit stronger as well still, and when Spoon wasn't a thing yet, but now that Spoon is here, like Shellbell barely has a place, except for, those two builds, which is actually very, very strong on still. Then special specs also quite situational. There's only a few Pokemon that make use out of it, but on those Pokemon it's still quite strong. For example, I mean, it used to be very strong on Lapras, and it's still very, very strong on Mr. Mime. It's very good on Clefable, right? Clefable runs it, sometimes Blissey runs it, Comfey runs it, because it allows your character to heal more. So it's for sure a situationally strong item, but nothing really that you are required to use either. But pretty much every Clefable in tournaments as well runs this item, because it increases Clefable healing by a lot. Floatstone, another very situation item. I personally like it a lot, but of course it got kind of replaced by a lot of very strong attacker items now, right? We have Razor Claw, Charging Charm, weakness policy, up here. I mean, attack rate has been for a long time, but there's a lot of things that rival it now. Even the Cursed Bangle rivals it, so Floatstone has dropped a lot in value, but I do think it's still quite situationally good, if you know what you want to do with it. I still played, for example, on Buzzwole, and I can't play Buzzwole without this item anymore. Like, I feel so slow, and I can't really catch up to people as much as I want to, so yeah. Then we have the meh items, which I'm going to put Drain Crown in. It is quite meh. Is it completely trash? I don't think so. Is it underperforming? Yes. I only played on a Azumarill, because I think that actually is quite decent on. Besides that, no other Pokemon should be playing Drain Crown. Actually, a Sword Vest is also, I forgot Assault Vest. Assault Vest is also situational, and it will be also quite good when it comes to draft. Like in draft, sometimes it can be probably better than Resonant Guard for yourself. It can be better than Focus Band depending on what the enemies have. If they have a lot of special attack Pokemon, it might see play once a draft is appearing. And then we have here also the Rescue Hood in Meh. It's just a bit more healing, but special specs usually ends up healing more. So it doesn't really see all too much play either. And then for the last Meh item, I think Score Shield. Actually, no, we have Cookie as well. I think Cookie is quite Meh. You get a bit of extra HP. I mean, actually, no, it's probably situational as well. Honestly, I do play it, right? I played on Blaziken, and that's it. But there's certain Pokemon that for sure can play Cookie, and it's not too bad on. So I guess it's also quite situational. And then for Meh, I think Score Shield is a weird item now. It is not as bad as people think it is, but it's for sure underperforming, and there's just a lot of better choices. And then for the last two trash, of course, we have Leftovers and Rocky Helm. These two items you should never be playing in any shape or form. This for the head items. Let me know what you think about this ranking, if you agree with it, and then we head into the battle items next. So I'm going to start also with ST. I think I'm just going to do from S to D as well, from top to bot. So we're going to start, of course. Eject button is still one of the best items or best battle items in the entire game. It will always be good on every single Pokemon. Doesn't matter what, it's never a wrong choice. Same for full heal. Currently, there are so many stunts in the game that if you don't run full heal, sometimes it feels absolutely miserable. So you can't, on a lot of melee Pokemon, it feels like a required item as well. And then the other ST item is also X-Speed. X-Speed, I feel like in 50% of games, it's always X-Speed, or 50% of players in the entire game currently play X-Speed. Very popular item. Very annoying to deal with as you get very fast. You can just run away. It has a lower cooldown than eject button, so sometimes it allows you to escape even further. Honestly, I think there's currently no A item. I think Shedinja Doll will go up here once draft comes out, but before draft, I think it's going to be here, and after draft, I think it's going to be here. So I'm just going to put into A, honestly, and I think that's where it fits quite well. It's a very situational items. It's very good against point-and-click damage like Ice Hicker Spear, Leafeon's Unite move, right? It can buy you a lot of time. It also has some combinations that are quite funny, where if you press it, your moves are still doing damage and still work. I currently played on Absol Pursuit, or my Absol Pursuit build as well, so I do play it on a few Pokemon. But once draft comes out, I will be playing this item much more depending on what my enemies are going to have. Then up next, I guess we go down to B tier. X-Attack, it's alright. It can make you deal a lot more damage, but honestly, it's quite risky not to go for anything defensive. Usually the defensive items are just superior, and that's just how it is. Potion, I mean, Potion is such a weird item. It's okay. Like, I mean, honestly, probably B tier. It's not as bad as I make it out to be. I just feel like Eject Button, X-Speed, all of those are like game-winning items, and Potion is just, you have a bit more healing, a bit more sustain. Like when a Slowbro runs Potion over Eject Button, I kind of get sad because Eject Button is a game-winning play. You can Eject Button forward into the enemy team, get Unite moves out, right? And there's a lot of Pokemon that I feel like Potion just doesn't really have a place. I think it's quite fun on like Mystic Fire Sylveon. It's quite fine, maybe sometimes on Aegislash. I guess it can be okay on Slowbro, but again, I feel like Eject Button is just such a game-winning play, on it. But honestly, Potion is not absolutely terrible, but also not great, really. Then we have Slow Smoke. Yeah, Slow Smoke, I don't know. It's a weird item. I don't think it's necessarily absolutely terrible, but I just don't see any use for it currently, except for maybe Comfey, Close Combat Lucario. Besides that, there's just items that are classed. And then for D tier, these two items you probably should never be playing, which is Fluffy Tail and Goalgetter. Even though Goalgetter sometimes can get value and can be quite funny for like Sableye and stuff or Talonflame, it is just a big bait item. Usually you just win games in solo queue by getting Rayquaza, and that's it. Like scoring in solo queue will often not win you games. When it comes to like coordinated play, it can be a bit different, but usually scoring, whoever gets Rayquaza in the end is like 90% of the game of the time will win the game. That's just how it is. So, you want something strong for those final minutes and for the final fight. And if you don't have Eject Button or something or full heal, you might just go down if you don't have any other defensive moves. Hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel.